everyone. Thanks for joining.
I'm still here. Sorry.
Whoops. So let's try that again. Hi, everyone. I'm Catherine from Catherine Learns Stuff. I'm really excited to be here today with you guys. Thanks for everyone who's joined so far. I see there's some chat happening in the window here. But before we get started, I quickly just want to introduce myself to everyone who hasn't met me before, or if you've met me before, you get to hear it again. But I'm Catherine. I am at Catherine Learns Stuff, the blog, so you can get me at catherinelearnstuff.com. I've got a Facebook page and a YouTube and a Pinterest page at Catherine Learns Stuff, so you can find me there to see all of my crafts. And typically what I do is I do a lot of paper crafts, I do vinyl, I do upcycling, I do wood crafts. I kind of do a lot of everything. I don't just sort of stay in like one sort of zone, so I'm not like just cards or just vinyl. I'm kind of all over the place. So that's kind of what I do in a crafting sense. And so you can kind of see what I've got back here. And so for this summit, what I did, I've got some pieces here. These are two of the pieces that I made. I made this way. I made this flower and this butterfly here and this flower. So these are actually made out of acetate. They're like binder dividers. So I buy them at the dollar store and they're all like colorful and fancy, and then I make them into little crafts. And I had a whole bunch of these and I've got some still here, but my kids stole them. But the idea is that you can put them on your mirror. So Erin, if you can show that there. So that's what they're supposed to look like. You can put them on your mirror or on the walls or whatever, but I thought it was a cute mirror decoration to add to our house because there's lots of boring spots. So, and the nice thing is, like, if you put this in your bathroom, since this is acetate, it's not going to like get all gross and fall apart if it's like cardstock, because over time, if cardstock keeps getting wet, it's gonna like get moist and gross. So this kind of works cool for like bathroom mirrors and stuff. So that's kind of what I did there with this. And so I thought that would be cool to do. And so I actually just recently bought my Cricut Joy because I wanted to learn a new machine. And it was kind of like, am I going to learn how to use a whole new system, or am I going to keep going with Cricut because I've got a Cricut Explorer 2? And so that's what I decided to get the Joy. And then I heard about the summit, so it kind of all just fell into place. So I tried making these, and these work great on the Cricut Joy, especially since I have a whole bunch of like scrap pieces of this acetate because I use it a lot for a lot of my crafts. So it's really cool to do. So make sure you watch my video today because I go through a whole bunch of tips on how to cut this stuff out with your Cricut Joy. It's a little bit different than cutting it out with like a Cricut Explorer or a Cricut Maker. So I go through some tips on that for you. So make sure you watch the video today if you're not part of the VIP, or watch it, tomorrow if you are part of the VIP. Okay. And so first we've got, what's your choice of paperweight for this project? So for this project, I don't actually use paper. I kind of do. So like on this flower, I put this paper on top because it kind of hides the sticky tape I've got at the back. But for this, I just used like 80-pound cardstock, but everything else is just acetate. So it's like just the binder dividers. I think I might have some. Here we go. So I like to use these things from the dollar store because they're cheaper than anywhere else at the dollar store. And it comes with like 8 packs, and it's great because I use it for everything. And I've got it on this project that I did here for another summit, and I've got it like all over the place. And so I actually learned how to, my kids, when they were a little bit younger, they played with Barbie dolls a lot, and they decided that they wanted their Barbies to like fly. And so I had to come up with like a wings thing for them to fly. And I thought, well, how am I going to make wings for the Barbie dolls? I'm like, oh, I'll just use some binder dividers and make wings. And that's what I did. I don't have them anymore because they got, played with too much. But this was the stuff that I use, and I thought this is a really cool crafting material that you can use. So I was really happy with it. And the cool thing is, like with this stuff, let's see if I can get this to work. So I put some holographic paper on top of this, like holographic sticker paper on top of these wings, so they kind of like shimmer and shine. So it makes it kind of nice to add in there. So I'm going, I have a lot of binder dividers as I'm in my teacher stash, ready to repurpose them. Do you use regular scissors to cut them down? So if it depends on what I'm using them for. So I'm using my, when I'm using my Joy, because I got just the little guy, I literally just use a paper cutter and I just slice them into halves. But since I use it a lot, I actually have a whole bunch of, like this pack here I have is, this side is you know, the nice pretty side, but this is kind of all my scrap pieces. So I use all this stuff, right? So I've already got everything cut down. So typically I'll use my paper cutter to slice them in half so that they fit on my Joy. And then I just use the scrap pieces for all the pieces, because all this stuff is pretty small. So I've got a lot of pieces that kind of fit the 6x4 Joy size. I have a stash of Cricut foil acetate. Would that work? Yes, it would. So you just like, I used all different types of acetate. I find this one works the nicest because it's sort of colorful. But yeah, you can use the Cricut foil acetate with your Cricut. You'll just need to make sure that you choose the Cricut, the foil acetate setting, which is typically what I use for this. You'll just need to double check my video if that's what I used on the Joy, because I'm pretty sure that's what I used on this one, but you'll need to double check because I did like 6 different test cuts, I think. So there's some different material settings that you can use, but the foil acetate does work. I don't know like what colors they have with the Cricut foil acetates, if it's just like white or clear, or how it works, but I don't typically use the Cricut products. I find they're a little bit pricier than I like to pay, and the few things that I've used of theirs, I haven't been super impressed with, so I just use my dollar store affordable solutions if I can. What settings do you use to cut that? So I'm pretty sure I used foil acetate on this one, but bear with me because I wrote it down here. Because I have notes for everything, but I'm pretty sure I use the foil acetate. But in my video, like, I recommend you watch it because I go through several different ways of cutting it, and I tell you kind of what happens if you cut it wrong in the video as well. Because this stuff can actually, it cuts nicely if you cut it right. It doesn't cut nicely if you aren't paying attention to it. So sorry, folks, I had it here somewhere. I think I had foil acetate, but I can't find it here. And I don't want to waste my whole time going through my notes because I've got like 40 pages of this stuff here. So double check my video. I cannot honestly comment. I can try to write back in the YouTube comments. I can go check afterwards, but I can't seem to find it right now. So I don't want to take up the whole time with that. So I am going to continue with my talking here. I've gotten sort of sidetracked, I guess. But so if you've got more questions, feel free to ask away. And if not, I'm just going to start rambling here with my notes that I've made for everyone to learn about me and sort of to learn about how all this kind of stuff works. So one of the questions that I get asked often is, where do I get my inspiration for my crafts? And a lot of the stuff that I do is for summits. So I sort of participate in a lot of these summits. But what I find that is, even though I have like a theme, so for this summit, the theme was, using your Cricut Joy, I still have to get like an idea of something. And typically my kids are the ones that give me the ideas of what to do. So for this one, like, these were little cute decorations because my kids were complaining that, their mirrors were too boring. So I thought, well, let's do some fun mirror decorations, right? And how can we make that with our Cricuts? And so that's what I did. And so a lot of my crafts are inspired by my kids, and then they end up stealing them. So these ones I had to sort of run around the house before this live session looking for them, because they've ransacked my stash of mirror decorations, and they've placed them all over their rooms and wherever they like to have them. So that makes it fun for them. And so that's kind of where I get my inspiration from. One of the other questions I often get asked is, how did I get started in crafting? And so this is a kind of a funny story. And if you've seen me live before, you will know the answer to this one. But if you haven't, I used to buy a lot of custom made shirts. So like silly shirts, like with funny designs on them. And I thought, this is great. I love these shirts because you can sort of be unique and, make funny statements or whatever. But it started to get really expensive, and it was $25 a shirt or $25 a shirt. And this is, 15 years ago or so. And that was fine. But then I had kids. So now it wasn't one shirt. It wasn't 2 shirts for me and my husband. It was 5 shirts. So I've got 3 kids and we had to do 5 shirts. And so now all of a sudden, it's not $20 a shirt or $25 a shirt. It's like $150 for, a stack of shirts. And I thought, wow, this is crazy. I can't afford to keep buying all these shirts. And so a friend of mine told me, well, why don't you buy yourself a Cricut and you can start making your own shirts. And so that's what I did. And I learned how to make shirts with the Cricut. And then I had just an iron and an ironing board. And then from there, I went on and I learned that, oh, wait a minute, I can do more stuff with my Cricut. I learned how to do paper crafts, I learned how to do all sorts of stuff. So that was kind of fun. So that's kind of where I started sort of going really crazy into crafts. And so I've kind of taken over the whole basement. I've got my whole little work area down here where I do all my crafting fun. So that's kind of where it started. And so that's where it started. And I've recently, I mentioned there before, I recently got a Cricut Joy to add to my collection of fun crafting stuff. And it was really a decision of, I wanted to try something new. Like I like my Cricut that I've got. I've got the Explorer 2, which is my main machine that I use. But I thought that I wanted something else. And I was looking at buying a Silhouette, and I was looking at buying the Joy. But the problem was that I tried out the Silhouette's program, and I didn't find it very user-friendly. And typically I have, like, when I have time to do crafting or learning new things, it's like after 10 o'clock at night when all the kids are asleep. And so my brain power isn't like way up there at 10 o'clock at night after running around all day and working and everything. And so I decided I'd try the Cricut Joy. And so that's how I got into the Joy world. And I have to say that I'm very much enjoying it. We had some growing pains at first. I wasn't a huge fan of it because, I don't know, just didn't want to cooperate with me, but I kind of got it. But the thing that I really like about the Joy is the little cards, like these little cute things here. So I've started to make cards, and I made a whole bunch for Father's Day, and these are the only ones I got sort of handy, but I made these like cute little cards, right? They're nothing fancy, nothing special, but they're like, you know, cute little cards. So I did the designs and then I made them, but they're really quick, which is awesome because I'm like, I need 1,000 cards all at once, right? Because if there's a birthday party, there's a whole bunch of birthday parties, and so you need to make 5 birthday cards or whatever it is. And so with the Joy, I love making cards. I'm like, yes, this is what I need, because with my Explorer, I'd have to cut the card, score the card, make the card, assemble the card, and now it's like bam, bam, done. So I really like that about the Cricut Joy. So what do you guys like about your Joys or your Ultras or Extras or whatever it's called? The boxes that are behind you are for supplies. Are those made with shoe boxes? So no, they're not, but shoe boxes probably would have been better. These are actually from IKEA. They're nice boxes. They're a little bit silly though. They don't fit in the space that they're supposed to. But yeah, they're just IKEA boxes. And so it just looks like a shoebox. There's the boring side, and then there's the fancy side that I put pink paper on. And it's just like flips open and keeps my mess hidden away from everyone. But yeah, they're just from IKEA. They were like, I don't know, $2 or whatever for a 2-pack. But they don't fit this way with the shelf divider, so it kind of annoys me because I'm losing a bunch of space, but whatever. So they kind of fit with a little bit of gap, but they were from IKEA and they weren't super expensive. But shoe boxes would work. Probably, I guess, cheaper if you're in the looking for shoes. So what else do we have here? I've got my favorite. So back to my Cricut Joy, since we're talking about this is the Joy Summit. The one thing that I don't like about my Cricut Joy, because I'm still learning a lot about it, is you can't recut, or at least I don't know how to recut yet. So like with my Cricut Explorer, I could just hit the C button when it was flashing after cut, and I'd hit it and it would recut the whole thing. It wouldn't move the mat. It would keep all my material in the same spot. It would recut everything perfectly in the same spot. And I can't do that with the Cricut Joy. So if you know how to recut with the Cricut Joy without having to take it out of the mat and like take the mat out and put the mat back in, please, please, please let me know, because I would love to be able to do that. Because that's one thing that drives me nuts. So, because like with projects like this one I got to cut after a few attempts, but there's some other materials that I'd like to try on my Cricut Joy, and they won't cut through, and I can't do 2 cuts. I can only just do a thicker cut, but that doesn't always do the trick either. So, and my last cool thing, the cool thing I found here, so after I got my Cricut Joy, I sent out an email to my mailing list here. Sorry for my mess here. And I asked everybody what they liked about their Cricut Joys. And someone sent me a cool message. If I can find it, I'll share it with you. Can't find it. But if you go to the Dollar Tree, and I'm in Canada, but this was an American person sent me a message. If you go to the Dollar Tree, they sell mats like this. This is my Cricut one, but I can't find the Dollar Tree one that I just bought. But it actually fits in your Cricut Joy. And it's like $2 in Canada. So you guys at the Dollar Tree in the States probably pay like 50 cents for it, because everything in Canada seems to be more expensive. but it's like the same mat and you're not paying the full price, and it works pretty decently. So I thought I would share that with you. If you don't know that, that's one of the things that I like to do. So I can't find that, and I'm not going to waste too much time looking for it here. So the next thing that I want to talk about is, how do you guys do crafting? So typically when I do crafting, I go in like waves. I will do 6 crafts at once. Now mine's a little bit different because then I have to take pictures and write them up because I put them on my blog, but I'll do 6 at once, and I'll leave a huge mess, and then I'll stop crafting for like 6 weeks, and then I'll do 6 at once, and then I'll do the same whole process again. So when you guys do your crafting, what do you guys do? Do you do like 1 craft at a time, or do you do like 1,000 at once, or do you kind of do whatever? So let me know in the comments what you guys do with your crafting, because I'm curious is if it's just me that does it sort of like in these batches of like crazy crafting, and then I'm crafted out for a few weeks, then I have to start up again. So well, you guys can answer that. I'm going to keep talking about some more stuff here. So this is a funny one. I mentioned at the beginning of the video, so I kind of do everything. I do like cardstock, I do vinyl, I do, I work with acetate. I kind of use everything that I can. But my biggest weakness is that I cannot resist paper on sale. And I just like cardstock on sale. And so I have to really be mindful not to buy cardstock because I have so much, and I love to buy cardstock on sale. And I happen to have like I don't know if I've got a knack for finding it or what, but I have so much cardstock. It's not funny. And so I have like this, my desk here, you can't see it, but under my desk, I got these cubes, and they're all full of cardstock. Mostly they've got 4 of them full of cardstock. And it's nice because on that side, I've got my cameras and my lights, so you can't really see the back side. And this side is where I sit, so no one really sees them. So nobody notices how much cardstock I have, but I have too much. And so I have a big problem with cardstock. That's my weakness. So if you have a weakness, let me know what your weakness is of buying too much of what craft supply. So I've got here, I found I can spend days bringing SVG files into DS and then spending weeks making them. Oh, I love bringing SVG files in. I do my own lot, but I'll, get them from other places as well. But I always find that I just like to collect them. I like to collect the SVG files, and I don't really always use them. Like maybe I'll use this one day for some project, but they kind of just sit there. So it'll find that funny. And I'm a cardstock on sale is my Achilles heel. Yeah, good. Loretta, I agree with you. Cardstock, man, all the way. It's just and they had these amazing sales with cardstock too. I got this let's see if I can get on here. So this one here, I got this fancy one. It was oops. I was at Michael's one day and I got this one here, and it was like $2, and it sells for like $24 normally. So I couldn't just buy one. I had to buy like 1,000 of them because they had different colors and different patterns, and who can go give up a sale like that? So I have too much paper, but it's okay. I will have projects to use for them. So don't worry. There's lots of projects coming with paper because that's the idea, is to get rid of some paper. I have a hard time with a craft store without a pad of patterned paper. Oh yes. So I'm not allowed to go to certain stores by myself anymore. So I try to avoid them. So I'll typically, if I'm buying something from Michael's, I know I'll find a sale. So I have to order it in advance, and my husband goes to pick it up because I know I'll just spend more money on paper, and I don't need more paper. So, all right. So my next question for you guys is, if anyone's going to answer, is do you clean your craft room? So I laugh at this because when I walked downstairs today, I looked at the floor, and I've got little bits of paper and vinyl and everything all over the floor. It's covered. And then I walk up the stairs from the basement. I'm like, there's little bits of paper all over the place. And so I try to clean up, I clean up my workspace here, but down there, kind of forget about it. So let me know if you guys clean up your craft space. And if you do, I always do some sort of DIY, and I like you. I do a little bit of everything. What kind of woodworking do you do? So for woodworking, I have done some signs. I don't have any pictures of them. They're outside in my backyard, but I did these right here. I did these dice. So I've made let's see if I can get it. not too bright angle. So I made these dice. These are just 4x4s, but they're simple like dice for yardsies. So we play Yahtzee outside in the backyard with the kids. So it's like an outdoor activity. I've made like letter tiles for Scrabble. I've done some bigger things, like I did a swing set because that was for my kids, and that's kind of when I was starting to do blogging, so I wrote that in there as well. But funnily enough, I made that swing set, the first one, 4 or 5 years ago, and then I had to take it down because my kids outgrew it. But then I just actually redid one last week when I was up north. So it's funny because it actually came in handy. So I kind of do like random odd and ends woodworking projects. I would like to do more, but like with everything, it all takes time and I don't have enough. So before we go, I just got to think, I got a notice here saying we got 5 minutes left. So if I could just let you guys all know, if you make sure that when you're in the summit that you go get my freebie. So you can get the file for this stuff here with the summit, which is your free sort of download to make this project. But if you scroll down, Erin, you will see there I've made some freebies for this as well. So you can get some heart designs for your mirrors and some Northern Lights. I did the Northern Lights ones because when we were doing all the submittals for this summit, we were having some crazy Northern Lights up here. And so I'm in Canada, not super north in Canada, but far enough that we got to see a whole bunch of Northern Lights. And so I thought, what a nice addition to our mirrors here. So I did some Northern Lights ones. So you can get a copy of those two free SVG files for your Cricut or for any of your Cricuts. They're sized to fit on your Joy, but you can use them on any of the machines. And then also, if you are a VIP member, so if you want to scroll down, you can get access to my flowers. So I've got 4 flowers there, and these are actually the flowers I've got kind of behind me here in my vases. You get access to all those SVG files, and you can print them off or put the SVGs onto your Cricut Design Space. And then if you go to my blog at Katherine Learns Stuff, I've actually got a tutorial on how to assemble them, and I go through some tips and tricks on like what went wrong and what didn't go wrong with making them, so that you can not make the same mistakes that I did. So make sure that if you are a VIP that you get those. And if you are not a VIP yet, you can still become one and get the cool SVG file for all those flowers. And so lastly, I think I've still got a few moments here before I go. I want to thank everybody for coming today and joining this conversation. And I love that you asked about cleaning, saying, what is that? But I want to just say, if you guys enjoy talking to me, and if you enjoyed my video today, be sure to check me out at katherinelearnstuff.com. That's my website where I have all my projects, and I update it, every time I do a project. I typically do a project every week. Right now it's summer vacation, so I'm not as diligent with that because my kids are home from school. And also be sure to check me out on YouTube. I'm really trying to grow my YouTube page this year. I'm hoping to get over 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So I'm almost there. I've got a little bit of way to go. So if you like me, check me out at Katherine Learns Stuff on YouTube, and also on Facebook and Pinterest at Katherine Learns Stuff. And it was great talking to everyone today. So thank you so much for joining me. And I'll go through these comments and see if there's anything that I've missed, and I'll write back to you guys if I can. All right. Thanks so much for chatting with us today, and I'll talk to you guys later.